So Colin Trevorrow, not directing Star Wars Episode 9. Usually I do like a little spiel. I'm going to do my spiel, so you should get there, but that's just the basics. Not directing Episode 9. A preference, everything I'm about to say is, and I want to start off something like on a serious note, but not really. There's a dog. A serious note, but not really, is the fact that it sucks. Like, that really sucks, because I'll read the article that the Wrap put out. What was the actual link? Or, sorry, the actual quote was, Lucasfilm and Colin Trevorrow have mutually chosen to part ways on Star Wars Episode 9. Colin has been a wonderful collaborator throughout the development process, but we have all come to the conclusion that our visions for the project differ, and we wish Colin all the best, and we'll be sharing more information about the film soon. So, right off the bat, that sucks, because this is just speak for it's the same way as with Lord and Chris Miller. Like, oh, we love working together, different visions, yada, yada, yada. But then they just got pushed aside, really, and then all the news came out about how there was clashing between maybe them and Kathleen Kennedy or Lawrence Kasdan. So that's the thing where I don't think this is a situation where it was they were fighting and this and that. I just think it's a combination of a bunch of stuff. But before we get there, this really sucks, because I don't think this was his choice. I don't think it was something that they're sitting around talking, and I don't think he brought me, you know what, I don't think I can do a Star Wars movie, or I don't want to do a Star Wars movie. Maybe it was, but I think we kind of know the way right now Star Wars and Lucasfilm runs, and you know what, at the end of the day, that's their prerogative. It's their fucking business, you know? So if they don't feel it's right, they don't feel it's right, and it's probably better to make a move. It's better to make a move now than in the middle of Han Solo, and we're going to get to that. But at the end of the day, whatever I say, I don't mean to be offensive to Colin Trevorrow, because I'm sure I think he's a nice guy from what I've seen in interviews, and this actually really bummed me out in a way of, I didn't want him to direct the movie, but when it's official and you see it happen, it's like, ugh, that sucks, you know? There's certain things about the Lord Miller thing, I didn't hate that, because that sounded like a thing they're standing their ground, like, hey, we're making this movie, and if not, you know, we have a problem, or we're walking off. Like, that sounded like, okay, there was no way out of that than either a bad movie or a bad relationship, so it was probably best they parted. That could come out, and maybe it will, but this to me kind of feels like some stuff has happened with him, and they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to take this away from you. So, with that out there, I wish them all the best. I'm not trying to sound like them or a Vince McMahon and the best in your future endeavors, but I wish them all the best. I liked Jurassic World enough. I didn't hate it like a lot of people. I understand the problems, and I like it kind of less and less, but I watch it. Brick... No, that's something else. But I haven't seen Book of Henry, and I hear lots of bad things. We'll get into that, but I hope for the best. I hope in next year that we see a movie directed by Colin Trevorrow, and it's great, and it's fantastic, and we all go, man, they really missed the boat on doing doing a movie with Colin Trevorrow. I don't think that's going to be the case, but... So I'm going to talk about three things here. And first we'll start with Colin, because just talking about right now, I'm looking up his IMDb because I forgot what the name of his first movie was. So pardon me, I have to see it or it's going to bug the hell out of me. Safety Not Guaranteed. Yeah, I got that and Ryan Johnson's Brick confused. So thank goodness. I saw that, and that was fun. That was good. It was a good little character thing. Other than that, so we'll get into Colin Trevorrow. So it's funny, I listened to a cast we did ago. If you want to listen to it, it's called Straight Outta D23. We used to name our cast very fun, cool things, but you can't do that anymore because those don't get hits. But I listened to it for some purposes. We're getting near the end of the year, and we do like a best of extravaganza, and there's some of our favorite moments. So I was listening to that, trying to figure out where this certain moment was placed. Listen to that episode in the future when it comes up. They're lots of fun. So I would listen to that, and that was the day that it came out that Colin Trevorrow was directing episode 9. I remember Dylan was in the middle because he didn't know much about him, and he liked Jurassic World but didn't know much. Taylor was a big fan of him because he loved Jurassic World. I think Jurassic World, honestly, might be one of his favorite movies. I don't know. He loved that movie, so he was a big fan. I was not a fan of it because, and this was at the point where I hadn't seen Jurassic World again, which I have, and like I said, every time I watch it, I do like it less and less, but I still really liked it. I really liked it the first time, and like I said, I still like it. It's a fun popcorn action movie, whatever it is. Some Chris Pratt's in there, that's good. But I just remember when that happened, it just felt like, hey, that guy directed this, at that time, the biggest opening weekend in history, not just of that year, in history, it beat Avengers, and it was this thing of, it really felt like a desperation of, hey, this guy's really hot right now, he has some heat, let's grab him. I remember saying that as the fact of, hey, I like Jurassic World, but I don't think this is the right choice, especially up to that point. It felt like such a strange choice. You had J.J. Abrams, who very established, so we don't need to get in that. Rian Johnson, who is a little less established, but the things that he's done are hailed critically very, very high. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. You have this guy who has a great track record, and you have this guy who's just knocking out home runs or, third runs or whatever it's called in baseball. I don't know. I don't watch him. But, like, he's getting good hits out here. This was, like, a guy who, hit it to first base, hit a home run in one game, and then we hadn't seen the other games, but it's like, but he hit a home run, let's get him on the team right away. Well, shouldn't we see what he does in the next game? Like, maybe this was just a one-time thing. No, let's grab him. And they did that. And that's the thing where that's the difficulty of announcing. At the end of the day, they're a $1 billion corporation. Almost everyone's going to see episode 9. This won't matter in 3-4 years when the movie actually comes out. But realistically, this is a problem you can run into when you announce the movie so far ahead. Because this is something, and even if it's announced, don't even announce Trevorrow. You don't have to. This movie's coming out in 2019. They easily just could have said, like, we're still looking at directors, and pulled Colin aside and said, hey, we're thinking about this. Like, I know they like to plan, I know it's the trilogies, but maybe, even if it's Colin Trevorrow, don't announce it. It might leak, but just leave it, because if it leaks, they can always go, well, it was never official, and I guess that's tough, I know, because there's pre-production work, and I think he had a little hand in the screenplay and everything, so it's like, and they get paid for that, so it's kind of a gray area, and it's tough, but maybe it's just this thing of, hey, that's the thing always caught me off guard, to take him right away. And you know what? Sometimes it's work. Sometimes it happens, and it's like, this guy is a star, and we are so happy we grab him, and he's making our Star Wars movie. But that's the problem that happened with this is, and I don't know, I think there's two things, and we'll get into that in a second, but the problem is we hadn't seen anything else other than 2 films, one very small indie one, and one Jurassic World. And I kind of understood from that point of, like, Jurassic World, this big spectacle, and that's why they grabbed him. So, like, I kind of got it, but it felt very odd with the other choices, and I wasn't sold on. I understand why they went that way, but I was like, you should go a different way, perhaps. So this kind of goes into point 2. Point 1 and point 2 are kind of similar, and it's about Lucasfilm and what's happening over there and how they're kind of having a changing of the guard, but not really, because Kathleen Kennedy, I imagine, is still running everything. So we're, a few months away from Last Jedi. Book of Henry comes out. Like I said, not seen Book of Henry, not seen Book of Henry, but I hear awful things about it. And I'm not even, like, specifics. I want to see it for myself, just like one of the worst movies of the year, yada, yada, yada. Lots of hyperbole. And you know what? I imagine it's not the greatest, because, like, almost everybody says that, so that happens. And it's this thing of, everybody starts talking about, like, he may not direct episode 9, yada, yada, yada. To me, I didn't believe for a second. I think you can go back to, I don't know the exact time, but one of our dynamic duos, last one me, Liam, and Kyle did together when Liam was back in town. And Liam had brought that up, like, oh, yeah, I heard that's not happening because the movie's so bad and he probably won't direct now. It's like, yeah, but he'll probably still direct it, like, I don't want him to, but, like, he probably still will, because that's the way it goes. Because there's so many times, for the most part, which is funny, Lucasfilm is a different example, for the most part, director makes a movie or has a good career, they're tapped to direct this franchise, a bad movie comes out, nothing really happens, or most of the time, nothing really happens as far as, okay, now we're pulling them. Like, most of them, they're not that reactionary, Hollywood, I find, or people that are running these companies. Like, you look at even something, and who knows, could change, but you look at something like Aladdin, it's still Disney, it's a different division, though, it's still Disney. King Arthur was not a hit. Man from U.N.C.L.E. was not a hit. But it's still like, oh, we have Guy Ritchie, he's directing Aladdin, lots of people, and even myself thought, okay, the second King Arthur comes, and I didn't think it was going to be good. It comes out, it's going to do what it does. I think they're going to say, oh, we have created differences, blah, blah, blah. If that happens, then it's a very common with Disney thing. But as of right now, it hasn't happened. They're doing a lot of casting and a lot of announcements right now. I think they just announced some new guy that they cast for a new character. So the only other time I can think about it is, like I said, most of the time you hear rumblings, yada, yada. The odd time you hear, but it's most common that people will use hyperbole of, like, bad movie or blah, blah, blah. They should take this person off. They shouldn't be directing this. Zack Snyder. Look at Zack Snyder is the perfect example of, Man of Steel came out to very, very mixed reviews. like everyone loves to paint this picture about Man of Steel being like this, you know, like underrated classic. It came out to mixed reviews. People, that was the BVS before BVS of like, did you like it? Was either like you loved it or you hated it. And then it was like, okay, let's see what he has. You know, this movie. BVS comes out. BVS bombs critically and very divisive with the fans. And to me, that was really like, okay, they have, like, there's no way he's going to direct Justice League. Like, all this stuff has happened. There's no way this is going to happen. It happened. He's directed Justice League. Obviously, stuff has happened and there's stuff with Whedon, but it doesn't matter. They picked him. He was their guy for quite a while, and he shot a lot. And a lot of people are going to probably construe it both ways. You got to remember, it's going to be Whedon and Snyder's film. You know, like, Snyder shot a lot of it. So, it doesn't really happen. And when I heard that with him after Book of Henry, it's like, it's just, once again, hyperbole. People are throwing it out there into the ether, into Twitter, being like, this should happen, or this is going to happen, yeah, but it's not going to happen. It's just people overreacting, because, you know what, everyone makes a bad movie, and let's move along. Now in this case, you make a bad movie, and you lost Star Wars, and I guess that's the part where I'm like, that sucks, and maybe it is the script thing, but I don't think it is. I think it's two things. I do think it's, one, they kind of realize, hey, maybe we jumped in. It's someone moving in or getting engaged to someone too quick. That's what I always felt with Colin Trevorrow. And that's what I thought this was the, you know, few months before the wedding, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't do this, you know? And then when you say that, the other person overreacts, and you overreact, and then boom, no more getting married. That's what this felt like. I felt like they looked at Colin Trevorrow and went, hey, this is not the way we want to go. Maybe it's I think it is. It's a combination of the Book of Henry reception, and I think it still is a little Jurassic World, because over time Jurassic World's garnered a lot of people saying like, it's not as good of a movie, it's very poor. So between that, and then you have things like they brought in a new screenplay writer, I think there was some, hey, you know, maybe that he isn't the best route. We thought he was going to deliver what we wanted, and it's not happening. So I think it's that. I think it's a combination of buyer's remorse. And you put those two together and you get this situation where he's no longer directing. I also do think that it's kind of a changing of the guard. And why I say that is, like I said, Kathleen Kennedy's still running it. People at Lucasfilm are still over there. But I think you are seeing a shift the same way as why, as of right now, I'm not complaining. Like, I complain. But with DCU, I'm more of a wait and see, because I feel there's a shift. With the DCU, when it started, they're going one way. I feel them slowly moving over. Whether that's making these standalone movies, whether that's changing the tone or changing how they make the films, changing what characters they're gonna make or do, or even some with Flashpoint. To me, that's why I'm like a wait and see, because I feel like, okay, they're shifting it because that was divisive. They're shifting it. I want to wait and see what happens. With DC before, if they kept going down the route, I wasn't a fan of it, so it's like, I'm not really wanting to see what happens. I'm not getting excited for these films. Now I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm at that point now with Lucasfilm where I'm not. I saw a lot of people already being like really worried, and I do get that. I do understand, and maybe I'm just being positive about it, and that's strange because you're looking at someone who loves Looper, and I'm not necessarily super excited for Last Jedi. I really like the first trailer. I love Force Awakens, but I've just been getting this weird feeling that like just certain things people say and comments that I'm like, I hope this just isn't Empire Strikes Back. With Force Awakens, you can call me hypocrite. I kind of gave it a pass, and I still think we have a podcast coming out about it in December. I still think there's enough differences to be like, no, I still feel like this is its own unique movie, but I can see it's kind of a cover song, you know? I understand that, but I look past it because it was reintroducing it into the world, and the thing that was great about it was it felt like Star Wars, and that's what I wanted, because the prequels, everyone can be like, yeah, they did all this new stuff, and blah, blah, blah. That's great. But it didn't feel like Star Wars at all. Like, for me, I didn't feel like I was in that same universe for probably 90-85% of the time. So that's what was important to me, was setting the tone. And then, like I said, I hear all this stuff, was not a big fan of Rogue One. So Last Jedi, I'm wavering, but I'm always going to get excited for a Star Wars movie. I love Star Wars, and I think once I get another trailer, I think is going to help, but that's just my concern. It's just that it's going to be another Empire, and if that's the case, then I could end up still liking it, but I'm not going to be as high as I am with Force Awakens, because I'm just going to, you know, another date analogy, you know? Maybe you went on a date with someone else. You're going on a date with Sally. And you know what? With Julie, you went on a date and you know what? It was kind of, you're looking for something else. You're looking for kind of a different woman. You go on a date with Sally. Okay, she has some, similarities to Julie, but let's go on a second date and see if she's a different person. If she's the same person as Julie, I'm probably going to end this because we just broke up. Let's say she's somebody that likes to party and you're a homebody. It's like, I'm getting the vibe she really likes to party. That's what I kind of mean, where it's like the first date was good and fun, but it's like, it was similar to the last one, but let's see if this changes. That's what I want from Star Wars. But with this, and that's why I'm not ready to be the pitchfork, oh, Star Wars is in trouble. Not yet, because I feel like there's a shift. You got Chris and Phil. Oh boy. Lord and Miller. I literally changed their names back and forth a bunch of times. Lord and Miller. Problems with Han Solo. They're out. Ron Howard comes in. Not problems because he played ball, but Gareth Edwards, stuff happened there. And then Tony Gilroy came in. And now, this is to me, this is like insanity. This is them avoiding insanity. Insanity, the definition is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. That's what I think this was. I think, hey, Rogue One was the first, this happened, but it hasn't happened before, this clashing of visions or clashing of like, hey, this may be a bit too dark, let's bring in, someone that's experienced and do this. And then it happened again with Han Solo, and I was like, this has happened twice. It doesn't look good, and it's not good press, because it does make people worry. With Rogue One, that was the huge narrative, was about the reshoots, and about Gareth Edwards, and Tony Gilroy, and all this, and is there a problem? Han Solo has that even more so, because it happened and it was so loud in the public. You have a negative narrative. It's going to be negative for a while. All they need to do is slap a director's name, and I think it will. I wonder, we'll wait for that in a second, about when and who they could announce, but all it takes is a good choice, and the good thing about this is it happened before the movie. Lots of stuff happens before a movie that people will forget. There's so many times when we do retrospectives on a Spider-Man movie, or like we're going to do them on Marvel, or when I did on Batman. There's so much you read, like IMDb trivia or other trivia I usually bring up in the reviews of people that were tapped to direct. And I'm sure it was a big deal when these names were getting thrown out, but until that person actually directed the film, it's just a footnote in history. Lord Miller, that's a fucking body's worth of history, because like they are halfway through. It's the same thing as Zack Snyder, halfway through. What did they shoot? What didn't they? Is this their same tone? Yada, yada, yada. Colin Trevorrow now, and this once again sucks, is a footnote on Star Wars. It happened, they announced them, and they went a different route. They get someone talented, and we'll forget about it. And I think that's why I like these, because I think they are starting to realize, hey, we gotta do things a different way, because, hey, it's worked, it panned out for us with Rogue One, but what happened if Rogue One came out and got a Rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, or people panned it? People would have 100% attributed to the reshoots and would have been like, it had to have been darker, or we would have loved to see Gareth Edwards' vision, or yada, yada, yada. It panned out for them. Han Solo, we'll see, but I don't think they want to be in a situation where, hey, I hope this works out for us, or hey, let's Frankenstein these movies together, and let's hope the majority of the people and critics love it, and we can have a hit on our hands. So that's why I think, to me, it's not so much of a worry, because I've seen a lot of people like, what's going on over there? It's not so much of a worry to me, it's more of they're going a different route. And we'll go into the third part of this conversation, and I think the different route is experience. I honestly do. I think they are looking at it and going, we want to get people that are either just shooters, well, hopefully not someone like a Brett Ratner, but somebody that is definitely not going to clash creatively, or someone that's established. And that's what I really think. You look at the so far, the link between Han Solo and Rogue One. Gareth Edwards, hot young director, off of Godzilla, and they bring in Tony Gilroy. And then you have, who was directing? All right, Lord and Miller. I don't know how I forgot them. I've said so many times, Lord and Miller. I just forgot their name. You have them. Very, very, very hot right now. Very, very hip and young. It was a great choice. Everyone was very excited. It built a lot of hype. And on paper, it looked great. They're coming off 21 Jump Street. They're coming off the Lego movie. And they've produced a whole lot of other things. To me, that's a link of, you have Gareth Edwards, Lord Miller, and then Colin Trevorrow. And the link is hot young directors coming off a big hit, or a few big hits. And to me, that seems, as far as Gareth Edwards, they didn't get everything they wanted, so Gilroy came in. Lord and Miller, like, clearly weren't getting what they wanted. So Ron Howard, very established director, and Gilroy and Howard, Academy Award nominated, and maybe, I know Howard's, I don't know, has Howard won one for directing? I'm going to have to find out. But at least he's been nominated. Very, very talented, very, very established directors, and very, very people, I don't know how to word it. People that are very much willing to play ball. There we go. I didn't need those two varies, ladies and gentlemen. I thought so. He won an Oscar for Beautiful Mind, and he was nominated for Frost Nixon, and I'm just going to look up Tony Gilroy, because like I said, it'll bug the shit out of me. Nominated for 2 Oscars. So even then, Academy Award nominated caliber directors, writers, talent. To me, that is 2 things of, like I said, the first one is not rocking the boat. These are people, you look at someone like Ron Howard, who worked with George Lucas in the past, honestly has worked with Spielberg, and Kathleen Kennedy for sure. And then Tony Gilroy, just a great, director. These are people that I think that they come in, their experience, they've been in Hollywood for years, they're probably friends with these people running the studios, they come in, they sit them down and say, this is the film, it's very much like MCU. This is the film we want to make. We're not getting it. We think you could be the best option to help us get there. You can obviously have input if we want to change something, or you have some tone ideas. Excuse me. Some scene ideas, some character, maybe decisions here and there. That's all cool, but those need to be minimal. Pretty much, we want you to shoot this with some input, 25. You get 25% input. That still needs to be cleared by us, but we just need you to come in and make the film we want. And to me, those are 2 people that are easily going to come in. Not easy, but now seem that they've easily come in and adapted that. Rogue One, lots of people like, so that worked for them. Ron Howard seems to be seems to fit like a glove. He tweets a lot about pictures, and is that trying to be reassuring? I was like, everything's okay, but still, you heard good reports from the set. You heard people were happy with his casting, and I think it was a good, solid choice for, hey, we got to get to the finish line. I think they're done putting in the backup quarterback. I think they're done getting the hot young draft pick, putting him in like, he's not working out, let's get the veteran. And at least, you know what, he might not win us a Super Bowl, but he'll win us an NFC Championship game, or he'll get us to the playoffs, or at least have us a good record. Because that's so far with Rogue One and Force Awakens. And I'll say Force Awakens for some people. I'll disagree, but I'll agree. I don't think they've changed the wheel as far as, so far, both movies feel like this is a template of what a Star Wars movie needs to be, and follow that template. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Marvel has a template, and they change it up. I don't think there's been a big Star Wars movie to change it up. I think Han Solo was going to be that, and it didn't happen. And I think right now they're looking at a way to just focus on getting that template and getting it done well, and then maybe playing with it in the future. But you gotta think, this is episode 9. This is the close of a trilogy. This is the close of one of their most important film franchises of all time until they do episode 10. They gotta at least make people somewhat happy, and it's the same way with Rogue One. I'm not a big fan of it, but I can't go and say that's a bad movie. I go, okay, wasn't for me. I think there was a lot of holes and a lot of things that they could have done way better, and it's probably the Star Wars movie I'm going to watch the least over, not counting the prequels. But you know what? It still is a good movie, and lots of people love it, lots of people it's their favorite, and lots of people enjoyed it. So I think that's what they're trying to achieve, is just that standard of Rogue One, we got lucky, let's make sure we go that way. And instead of having to, like I said, putting that backup quarterback, start with the backup quarterback, and maybe it'll be even off to a better foot. So that's what I think. I think it's a shift. I think they're going more experienced, and I think you're going to get people that, and that was my first choice. I have 4, I think, I have 3 realistic choices, and then 3 that are mine and kind of a what if I would love. But the first choice I had, who could replace him, it's going to just be a vet. I don't know who it is. I tried to thought. I know everyone's going to throw out Spielberg. Spielberg's never said he's going to, or he said he's never going to do a Star Wars movie. That could change. He has a lot of personal ties to Star Wars movies, obviously. So, and there's rumors that he kind of backdoor directed episode 6 now. Yeah, Return of the Jedi. So, I don't think it will be Spielberg, but it could be someone like a Spielberg. Someone that has that experience, someone that's been around, someone exactly like Ron Howard, and someone like Tony Gilroy. Please, in the comments, let me know what you would think as far as a veteran that you could see taking up. I think there's a lot of options out there, but I couldn't really narrow it down to one, but I could see it. Somebody that's been nominated for Academy Award, someone that's been working for the past 20 years probably. Someone that's going to play ball. I really think you're going to get someone established. I don't know if you're going to get a sexy pick, and I'll get into the sexy picks later, but the other two choices that are not the established people, but things that I think are, like I said, realistic. This one's the most unrealistic out of the next two, is just because it was J.J. Abrams. I love what he did with Force Awakens. Like I said, I thought it was a great job. I like where he was going with it. I was a little disappointed when he wasn't directing Last Jedi, and then obviously Rian Johnson, so I was like, okay, I can get over that. But I really enjoyed Force Awakens, and I think that would be a great person to put in there. He worked well with the team. I don't think they had any problems. I think that or any major problems at least. I think that he would be kind of the same thing, like a hand fit in the glove. They've already worked together once, and it worked out very well, very well. Force Awakens, one of the third biggest movie of all time. JJ is very capable. I don't think JJ's busy right now. I don't think other than producing. That's the pick I would like the most, honestly, right now, like, as far as the realistic picks. But he also said he's not interested in doing sequels anymore, so I feel like that kind of takes him out. This could be a scenario where they go, hey, we're kind of, at our ends with here, we're kind of over a barrel right now, and we would really like you just to come in here and take us home, and I think he'd be a perfect choice for that. The other one that I think is realistic, because they've talked so much about him, is Rian Johnson. All you've heard about is Rian Johnson say how much creative control he's had, how he's not had any problems, how he's pitched ideas and they're made in the film, how he's impacted the franchise, and vice versa. They said the same thing, that we love his vision, we love what he's doing. Could it just be, bull crap? Yeah. It could be. They could just be saying that because they want to work together in the public and make it seem like it's a joint venture, when really it's not just Star Wars and Lucasfilm saying, hey, you're going to make this movie. Okay, cool. See you in a few months. Hopefully you make it, or we'll replace you with Ron Howard. But if I take that at face value, and like I said, I think Last Jedi, all my problems that I was worried about, those don't happen. It's a great Star Wars movie. Because I really do feel like we're not going to get The Force Awakens in the middle. And you can't, because these characters are established. So that's why you can't get that to me like it's new and old. You're either going to get like it feels so old, it feels exactly like the same, just with different characters, with different skins, or he's going to reinvent the wheel, which I'm hoping he does. I think he could be that guy that goes in there and gives us this very super unique Star Wars story. If that happens, I think he's a perfect choice. Obviously, I don't think he's working on anything. Maybe he has original films planned or whatnot. He would push those, or he could push those. Like, it's Star Wars. You want to be directing a Star Wars movie. That's the point where I brought Colin Trevorrow at the beginning. It sucks. Anybody would kill to direct a Star Wars movie. It's the thing of our childhood. So if Last Jedi is great, knocks it out of the park, critically and financially again, I don't see why he couldn't direct Star Wars. I think it would be a fantastic choice. I thought it would be a fantastic choice to do Episode 9, and I think it could happen. He's talked about before, he said he didn't write a treatment, but there was back and forth about did he or did he not. I think that's a great choice. So I'm kind of leaning towards that one being... I lean towards The Vet being the most realistic. That would be next, and that would be after. The next one that I would say that I think would happen if Infinity War wasn't happening right now is the Russo brothers. Russo brothers have talked about how they would love to do a Star Wars movie. They've mentioned in several interviews, or at least interviewers have brought up and they've expressed it. I think they have definitely been tapped to do it. They've already proven themselves from doing Winter Soldier and Civil War as far as handling big genre movies. Civil War is my favorite MCU movie of all time, so I would be thrilled. The Russo brothers knocked it out of the park for me because I dubbed them so much with Winter Soldier. I was like, the guys from Community, you gotta be kidding me. Like, what are we doing here? Prove me wrong. Russo brothers, especially look at Infinity War, if you've seen the leaked trailer, going to be huge. It's going to be a mountain of a movie. And that's the thing where... I'll get into that in a second. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a great spectacle. And it's in space. So it kind of crosses out all those check boxes. That's one thing people keep also saying is they should delay it. Only delay it if you have to. I'm using Han Solo as a template because if Han Solo doesn't get delayed, I don't think this will get delayed. Because people will be like, it's 2019, that's really close. That's 2 fucking years away. I know they're supposed to start production soon, but like, lots of times studios leave a lot of extra slack time in between the wrap date and the release date. Because obviously promotion, you got editing and yada yada yada, and people, of course you want as much time as possible with your film, but in a crunch, I believe a multi-billion-dollar corporation can do it. And whoever the talent is, they will hire somebody that knows, hey, you're working under a little bit more of stress. You're going to be a bit more on a timetable. But I'm sure most people are going to be like, yeah, but it's Star Wars. I'll be on that timetable, you know? So that's the thing with Russo brothers. Infinity War 2 or whatever it is, Avengers 4 is filming right now. They finished that. I don't think they could do it. I think they're a great choice for our anthology or maybe an episode 10. But you never know. Maybe if Infinity War 2 or Avengers 4 like has some really great days and they get everything wrapped really early, they'd be someone great to plug in. I don't think they will, but I think that would be a great... That's kind of like my great fun choice. My other two fun choices are completely... I don't think gonna happen. I just choose... Because it goes against everything I said of like, hey, we have a vision and we want you to do this. In a perfect world, it's Denis Villeneuve or it's Christopher Nolan. I put them on the same thing right now because Christopher Nolan's one of my favorite director, if not my favorite director of all time. I think he is. My favorite director of all time. Even though he's so new to the game, his films I just absolutely love. I have a few of his in my top 10. And then Denis Villeneuve to me is like this decade's like Christopher Nolan. Like he's the same thing. Like he keeps knocking at the park. I would love someone like those two auteurs to do it and bring a lot of like gravitas to Star Wars, and I would love to see what Nolan would do with Star Wars, but it's not going to happen. Those are just my fun choices, but I think out of my fun choices, Russos are the ones that it might be impossible, but I think they would be the best choice. And as far as my realistic, I'm going a vet. Somebody that has experience, somebody that's going to come in and shoot this. Like I said, I don't think it'll be a sexy name. And I honestly think JJ would kind of count in the vet sort of vein, like he's a young vet. I just don't think because he said that comment about it, but who knows? He did say he did say the thing that he was most disappointed about and why he wished he did episode 2 because he didn't get to work with Mark Hamill. We don't know. Mark Hamill could survive Last Jedi. And if he does, what better way would JJ love to be the guy who gets to send Mark Hamill off? Because I do think either it's 2 or 3, Luke will be passing away or getting killed off. JJ could be the guy that does that. So I'm very interested to see what they do next. I can't wait to see... And that's my last point. I think... Because I was going back and forth being like, I think they're going to announce this right away. Like, they are going to get it out there in the open, say a name, and everyone's going to be not running with a chicken like their head cut off. Yeah, that's right. With Han Solo, they did that because they're in the midst of filming. Everybody was super crazy about it, and rightfully so. And you're in the middle of making a movie. So you kind of actually needed, like, they actually need a director. They could wait a little bit with this. And honestly, like I said, if they want to, they could delay it. I don't know if you hear a director till after Last Jedi. I think there's a chance they talk to some vets, they tap them and say, hey, would you be interested? Because we might not have a director. Because they also might be waiting to see how Last Jedi does. And then, what a better way if Last Jedi is great, they announce, hey, Rian Johnson's coming back. Then no one's going to question it. If everyone comes out there saying it was as good as Force Awakens or better than that, better than Rogue One, you know, it's like I said, reinvent the wheel. What better way to calm people than be like, hey, this guy who's knocking out of the park has done great movies, TV episodes, and he just killed it with Last Jedi. He's taking us home on the journey. And same thing, I think JJ gets that same thing. I think JJ gets announced. It's calming, you know. A vet will get the calming effect, but it'll get the... They said, I don't think it'll be a sexy name. Like a Ron Howard. People came out and be like, that's a safe choice, that's good, but no one's like, oh my god, Ron Howard is directing Star Wars, yes. So, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for tuning into this impromptu GeekVerse Thought Bubbles. We got a lot of good content right now. Check out the GeekVerse Gauntlet right now. It's heating up. October 7th is Geek Mania. Actually, I don't even know why I'm promoting, because I'm still suspended. Kyle suspended me. Apparently, he's supposed to make some sort of announcement this weekend when I come back. So, I don't know. But when I do come back, I'm going to come back angrier than I ever have before. I'm going to come back like a bat out of hell. And Taylor, I don't get a title shot at him right now, but... Oof, I'm going to make his life a living hell if I get a chance. Check out Geek Screed talking about Taylor. Him and Ruben are back. They're dropping an episode, I think, tonight, so that's going to be really good. They're breaking down, they got a lot of trailers to talk about. It Review is coming out this week on Thursday night, so if you watch it, you can come right to the theater and come watch our beautiful faces live on YouTube breaking it down. I'm very excited for this. Thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time, it will not be boring.